friends, it's Sarah from She's Crafty. She Knows, and today we're going to make DIY book Christmas trees. So if you saw my video on how to make DIY book pumpkins a few weeks ago, this is very similar. Same idea, we're just doing Christmas trees this time instead. And so I went ahead and cut out my template. So same as last time, I used cardstock. I cut out a template. Now remember, the template is only going to be half of the Christmas tree shape because we're going to be cutting the book like this so that once we open it all the way up, it'll make a full Christmas tree shape. So go ahead and cut a shape that is half a Christmas tree, just a little triangle. I did it, it's easiest, honestly, to cut it where the bottom is all the way at the bottom of the book and the point is at the top of the book. So if you want a shorter Christmas tree, maybe find a shorter book. For a taller Christmas tree, find a taller book. That makes it the easiest cutting wise. That's what I found at least. So that way you want the bottom to be exactly flat. That way when it's done, it will stand up really easily with a flat bottom. So get your template made. You could obviously make it, I did a taller, kind of skinnier tree. You could obviously make it really fat if you wanted to and do like a diagonal of the book and have a really fat, wider one. Just remember that whatever size your template is, the actual folded out full tree is twice the width. So if it's like this, when it's folded out, it's going to be the full size. So just keep that in mind. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pull off the cover on both sides. We don't need it. If you don't have any old books lying around, you can definitely go somewhere like Dollar Tree or a dollar store near you. Sometimes they have books for $1, or also somewhere like Goodwill or something like that. We always have old books. This is a book I had when I was a kid that my kids have already read, and it's not in the best shape. And so I'm going to go ahead and be using this one today. So what we're going to do is, this first page is already really loose. Okay, so the idea is that you're going to put the template right on the edge, right up to the spine. If there's any little loose pages from when you pulled the cover off, you can just kind of rip those off right like that. Okay, so you're going to put the template right up to this edge of the spine, and you're going to hold it down firmly. I cut my template out of cardstock. I should have mentioned that sooner. It's easier to have a template out of cardstock, something thicker like poster board or something like that. Otherwise, it's kind of flimsy. So once you have your template, put it lined up to the spine just like that. You're just going to trace the line all the way down, and then you're just going to cut it. Now, I found that I have some really sharp scissors. I'll link the scissors that I use or something similar that I can find online in the description below this video. So definitely look down there in the description for some links. I found that with these scissors, I can cut about 15 pages. So I'm just going to kind of fold it over to where I see 15 and go ahead and cut the pages. So you kind of got to figure out how you want to hold it, but I'm going to hold it like this and just cut straight down the line. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing again. So the important part is when you're doing the next one, instead of tracing the pages you just cut, you want to use the template again. If you keep tracing the pages that you just cut, you're slowly going to be cutting it a little bit wider, 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 and it's not going to be even at the end. So trust me on this one. Kind of fold these up, take your template, stick it in there. Make sure you're pushing it all the way as far as you can, even the tip. Sometimes it's easy to kind of have it angled. So make sure you're pushing it all the way into the spine. The bottom is flush with the bottom of the book. The tip is all the way up there, and the tip is pushed in all the way as far as it can. Hold it down, and then we're going to trace it again. So you're just going to keep doing this all the way through the whole book. So it's nothing crazy, nothing too complicated. You're just going to keep taking chunks of about 15 or 20 pages, however much your scissors can cut. I realized the scissors I used last time I was cutting were the wrong pair. I have a set of 3 that comes together. I'll show you. I'm not sure if I'll be able to find them. They're very old. I got them as a Christmas present when I was like, honestly, maybe 13 or 14. So I'm not sure they sell them anymore, but it's a cool little kit that, oh, it was already open, that has 3 different sizes. And so I grabbed the little ones on accident. The middle ones are better for what I'm doing. But it's a cool little set. So I'll link those or something like them in the description below this video because those are really sharp and really good. But like I said, we're just going to keep doing the template, tracing the template. Don't forget to use the template. Don't accidentally start using the pages like that, because I promise your tree will get lopsided and one side will start being fatter than the other because it kind of grows as you're tracing the ones that are already cut. So trace them, cut 15 pages at a time, 15 to 20. It doesn't have to be exact, just whatever your scissors can handle. If your scissors can handle more than that, then definitely do more than that at once. This is not, there's so many pages, it does not have to be perfect or anything. If you have a little pencil showing here and there, it is not anything to be worried about. So we'll pick back up once I'm finished cutting, because I'm just going to be doing this for the next 10 to 15 minutes or so, and then we'll pick back up. Okay, friends, so now the book is all the way done being cut. For those of you who want to know specifics, that took me 7 minutes to finish cutting it, so it is not a very long craft. It doesn't take all day or anything like that. What we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and hot glue it together. So if you have a hot glue gun, go ahead and plug it in. That's what we'll be using. So you can tell right now that it is not perfect. Every page is not the exact same size. It's the best that you can do cutting it in chunks of about 15 to 20 pages. It is perfect enough for what we're doing though. So all to say is if it looks a little scraggly, don't worry about it. As long as there's nothing that's like way off, that's sticking out an inch bigger than everything else, you'll be fine. So before I hot glue it, I like to kind of bend the spine to make it more flexible, so that way the pages are less stuck together. So you can kind of go around and there's gonna be clumps of pages together, and you can kind of like start folding them out, separating them, and this will help make the spine more flexible, which also makes it easier when we're connecting it all together. So go through and kind of fold it little by little, and we're doing this anyways. You need time for your hot glue gun to heat up anyways if you haven't already plugged it in at the very beginning. So I'm just gonna kind of fold everything out. Especially cutting them like that in clumps kind of makes some of them stick together. Now, if your book is really old and the binding is very fragile, be careful doing this, because every now and then a clump of pages can fall out. I had that happen when I made one of my pumpkins, and I just simply, it was a pretty big chunk like this, fell out, and I just picked it up, put hot glue right along the spine, and just stuck it back in. So don't worry about it if for some reason a clump falls out. Some of the bindings, and not even if they're old, some of the bindings are just not made very well. So it'll depend on how old your book is, but also how well the book is made. Okay, so what we're going to end up doing is taking just this first page and last page, and oh, see, it's so fragile, this page is already falling off. So we want to do the first page and the last page, and ideally, I shouldn't have done that. I kind of grabbed the first and last pages individually like this, where it was, let me see if I can even do it, where it was just one page at a time, which makes them really fragile. So if you're going to do it, you want to grab kind of clumps. I should have done that like this, but we're going to hot glue this side to this side. So wherever the spine is open, we're essentially going to hot glue the beginning and the end together. So like I said, don't grab one page at a time, because it'll probably fall off if your book is older like mine. We're going to do like that. We're going to hold it together so that it can completely cool off and be done. So I'm going to grab my hot glue gun. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and just put hot glue up and down. You can be generous with it. You don't want it to ooze out on the side. Let me show you, hold on. You don't want to put so much that it oozes out on this side, but if it oozes into the spine over here, that is okay. So now we're going to line them up and smush those sections together. And now we're just going to hold it for a little bit while it's cooling off. So really hold it, especially closer down there to the spine. You really want to push it together. Give it a little bit of time. Push it hard. If you have one of those dual temp hot glue guns, I think mine is a dual temp one. I recommend doing it on the hot setting, not the cool. Sometimes the cool is great for certain things, but I feel like it just doesn't do as good of a job, and sometimes things will pop apart afterwards. And so do the hot setting for this one. We really want it to connect. If you're somebody who's like, you know you're gonna love this, and you know that you want to make it and be able to take it apart next year, I haven't made one like that, but if I were wanting to take it apart to store it in the attic, I would consider maybe using those magnetic strips you can buy and putting a magnetic strip. I think they make some that are adhesive, so putting a strip on one side and a strip on the other that would help close it. I'm not even 100% sure if that will work. That's just what I would be thinking if I knew I wanted to take it apart to store in the attic or something. Okay, I don't know if you can see, but this looks super cute. There will be gaps every now and then, So you can kind of go through and push them apart to get other pages closer together. If for some reason there's a huge gap, like this is a bigger gap right here and it's really bothering you, you can put a little dab of hot glue down there and or even closer to the edge right here and like put those together. So go through if you need to, kind of push them apart, pull them here and there, be gentle with it. But if you have big lumps that are kind of together and then big empty sections, you can use hot glue to kind of stick some of the pages together and pull the sections together. Mine doesn't really have any sections that are so pulled apart that are bothering me, so I'm going to leave it as is. It looks really cute. And then I have these little wood stars. If you saw my last two videos on different kinds of book Christmas trees, so if you're liking this one, I have a book page Christmas tree where the pages are kind of stacked and it's super cute, kind of like shabby chic farmhouse look. And then I have a fan fold Christmas tree. Those are both using old books as well, and they're both using these same wood stars. So if you buy these wood stars, there's multiple little Christmas tree ideas you can do with them. All I'm going to do though is put some hot glue at the top of the tree and put this star on. Okay, so kind of spin your tree around until you find where you want the front to be. So like I have a spot that when I'm looking at it from this angle really doesn't have any gaps. It's pretty perfect as is, and that I want that to be the front. So now that I have my star, all I'm going to do is place a little dot, we're going to do tiny dots of hot glue, one like on each side, one right here and one right here, and then we're going to set the star right on top. So it'll kind of look like this, if you can see that. So you do not need a whole blob covering the top, because if you do a whole blob, the glue is just going to fill in, it's hard to show you, right underneath that part of the star. See if I can hold it with one hand. So if you put a huge blob, it's just going to be a huge visible blob of hot glue right there that you can see, which will look a little bit messy. So I'm just going to do the tiniest dots to hold the star on. It does not need to be, nobody in my house is going to be like touching it and playing with it. So I know that it can be a little bit more fragile. If for some reason you store it and the stars come off, it's okay. You can just hot glue it back on next year. Okay, so just give it a second for the hot glue to cool off, and then you'll be good to go. Okay, friends, so that's it. Hopefully this video inspired you to make some really cute little DIY book Christmas trees. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up and make sure you subscribe for more videos. Bye!
She's crafty and she knows it. She's crafty and she knows it. She's crafty and she knows. She's crafty and she knows it.